5 best way to deal with toxic people. Recognize the poison. Have you ever met someone who leaves you feeling drained, defeated, or even questioning your own worth every time you interact with them? These are the kinds of people we call toxic. They can be manipulative, negative, and self-serving, wrapping their poison in fake smiles, empty promises, and shallow charm. But deep inside, their energy is like a virus that spreads doubt, fear, and insecurity within us. Imagine walking through a lush green garden, a place meant for growth and beauty. But suddenly you realize that not all plants are there to help you flourish. Some are covered in thorns, hiding poison in their leaves. That's exactly what dealing with toxic people feels like. They may seem harmless at first glance, but over time they can overshadow your happiness, your confidence, and your peace of mind. Before we dive into the strategies to deal with toxic people, let's understand why this topic matters. Because too often we let toxic people define how we see ourselves. We let their harsh words sink deep into our hearts, believing their lies about who we are and what we're capable of. We sacrifice our own mental health trying to please them, trying to fix them, or trying to get them to understand us. But here's the truth, it's not your job to heal them, it's your job to protect yourself. Recognizing the poison is the first step to regaining your power. It means looking beyond the surface and seeing their actions for what they are. Manipulations, projections, and sometimes deep-seated insecurities they refuse to confront. Toxic people may come in different forms. A boss who belittles your achievements, a friend who only calls when they need something, or even a family member who uses guilt as a weapon. They thrive on control and chaos, feeding off your reactions to their negativity. But here's the thing, you have a choice. You can choose to stop drinking their poison. You can choose to protect your peace, your confidence, and your dreams. You can choose to stop letting their words or actions dictate your worth. This journey is about reclaiming your power, one step at a time. In this video, I'm going to give you the 5 best ways to deal with toxic people. Practical, powerful strategies that will help you build unshakable boundaries, protect your energy, and live your life on your own terms. Because you deserve a life filled with peace, purpose, and positivity. So let's dive deep, let's get real, and let's get ready to transform your life by cutting out the poison and making room for your true potential to shine. Let's get started. Way 1. Set boundaries without guilt. The first and most powerful way to deal with toxic people is to set boundaries without guilt. Boundaries are the invisible lines we draw around our hearts, minds, and lives to protect our well-being. And yet so many of us struggle to set them, let alone enforce them. Why? Because we've been conditioned to believe that setting boundaries is selfish or unkind. But let me tell you this, boundaries are not barriers to love. They are bridges to respect and self-worth. Toxic people thrive in the gray areas where boundaries are weak or non-existent. They sense your hesitation, your fear of conflict, your people-pleasing tendencies, and they exploit them. They test you, push you, and challenge you, trying to see how far they can go before you push back. And if you don't stand your ground, they will keep taking until there's nothing left of your energy, your confidence, and your peace. Setting boundaries is not about building walls to keep people out. It's about creating a safe space where you can thrive without being manipulated or disrespected. Think of it as building a fortress that protects your mind, your time, and your emotional well-being. It's saying, this is how far I can go for you. Anything beyond this is too much, and I'm not willing to sacrifice myself to please you. You may be asking yourself, but what if they get angry? And here's the hard truth, they probably will. Toxic people hate boundaries because it means they can no longer control you. But that's their problem, not yours. You are not responsible for how they react to your boundaries. You are only responsible for maintaining them with strength and grace. Boundaries can look different depending on the relationship. At work, it might mean declining extra tasks that eat into your personal time. With a friend, it could mean not answering every call at midnight. With a family member, it might mean saying, I love you, but I can't talk about that right now. Remember, saying no doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a strong person who values themselves enough to protect their energy. Don't over-explain or justify your boundaries. Toxic people will use your explanations as leverage to argue, manipulate, or guilt-trip you. A simple, firm statement is enough. I'm not available for that, or I'm not comfortable with this conversation. Keep it direct and calm. As you practice setting boundaries, you'll notice something amazing. Your self-respect will grow. You'll feel lighter, freer, and more in control of your life. You'll teach others how to treat you, and the toxic ones will either learn to respect you or find someone else to manipulate. So, embrace your right to set boundaries. You are not here to be anyone's emotional punching bag. You are here to grow, to shine, and to live a life filled with joy and authenticity. And it all begins with the simple but powerful act of setting boundaries. Without guilt, without fear, and with a heart full of self-love. Way 2, don't take their words personally. The second way to deal with toxic people, and one of the most liberating things you can learn, is to not take their words personally. This might sound simple, but it's actually one of the hardest lessons to master. Toxic people have a way of getting under your skin, making you doubt yourself, and convincing you that their version of you is the truth. But it's not. Their words are a reflection of who they are, not who you are. Toxic people often operate from a place of deep insecurity, fear, or unresolved pain. They project that negativity onto others as a way to deflect from their own struggles. They criticize, blame, belittle, and manipulate, not because you're unworthy, but because they're fighting battles within themselves that they haven't healed from. When they insult you or try to drag you down, it's not a reflection of your value. It's a mirror showing what's broken in them. Think of it this way. Imagine someone holding a mirror in front of you, but instead of your reflection, they're showing you their own distorted image. That's what happens when toxic people speak. They want you to accept their version of reality, their pain, their baggage, but you don't have to. You can look at that mirror and say, this is not me. This is you. When you take their words personally, you're giving them power they don't deserve. You're letting their insecurities shape your identity. Every time you believe their hurtful words, you're letting them win. But when you choose to stand firm in who you are, their words become noise, just background static that can't touch your heart. That doesn't mean you won't feel hurt. You're human, and it's natural to feel the sting of an insult or the pain of betrayal. But here's the key. Feel it, but don't own it. Let it pass through you like wind through trees. Don't let it take root in your soul. You can acknowledge that their words hurt without accepting them as truth. This skill takes practice, but every time you refuse to internalize their negativity, you grow stronger. You build an emotional shield that keeps their poison out and protects your peace of mind. When they call you names, remind yourself that their opinion doesn't define your worth. When they question your choices, remember that their perspective is clouded by their own unresolved issues. When they try to make you feel small, stand tall and know that you are enough. Always have been, always will be. So the next time a toxic person tries to drag you down with their words, pause. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself, this is not about me. It's about them. And walk away with your head held high because you know that you are stronger than their negativity. You are not here to be defined by anyone else's darkness. You are here to shine. Way 3. Limit your exposure. The third way to deal with toxic people is to limit your exposure to them. To recognize that you don't have to be available to their negativity all the time. Too often we feel obligated to keep toxic people in our lives out of guilt, fear, or a sense of duty. We convince ourselves that we have to answer every call, respond to every message, and show up every time they demand our attention. But here's the truth. You don't owe anyone your constant presence, especially if it costs you your peace of mind. Toxic people feed off your energy. Every time they draw you into their drama, every time they bait you into arguments, every time they guilt trip you for living your own life, they're stealing a piece of your mental and emotional strength. And the more you engage with them, the more you allow their negativity to influence your thoughts, your mood, and even your decisions. That's why it's so important to be intentional about how much access you give them. Think of your energy like a bank account. Every interaction you have is either a deposit or withdrawal. Positive, supportive people make deposits. They add value to your life. Toxic people make withdrawals. And sometimes they overdraw your account, leaving you feeling depleted and empty. You have to protect your account by setting limits. Limiting your exposure doesn't necessarily mean cutting them off completely, although sometimes that might be necessary. It means being strategic about when and how you interact with them. Maybe you choose to see them only at family gatherings, but you don't answer every phone call. Maybe you keep conversations short and surface level, avoiding topics that lead to conflict or emotional blackmail. Maybe you create physical distance, choosing not to invite them into your personal space or your home. Remember, you are not required to explain or justify these choices. Your mental health, your dreams, and your goals are valid reasons to protect your energy. It's not your job to fix them. It's not your responsibility to be their emotional dumping ground. You get to decide who has a front row seat in your life, and toxic people haven't earned that privilege. This is not about being cold or unkind. It's about being wise enough to prioritize your well-being. You have goals to chase, dreams to build, and a life to live. You can't do that effectively if you're constantly dealing with negativity and manipulation. When you limit your exposure to toxic people, you create space for growth, healing, and positivity. You make room for people who genuinely care about you and want to see you thrive. So start today. Set your boundaries, limit your exposure, choose to spend your time and energy on people who uplift you, inspire you, and respect you. Because you deserve a life that's too full of light to be overshadowed by someone else's darkness. Way 4. Focus on your own growth. The fourth way to deal with toxic people is to focus on your own growth. This is one of the most powerful steps you can take because it shifts the focus from them to you, from their negativity to your potential. Toxic people often want to drag you into their drama, to make you question your worth, and to keep you stuck in cycles of doubt and fear. But when you choose to focus on your own growth, you reclaim your power and remind yourself that you are not defined by their darkness. Personal growth isn't just about learning new skills or achieving external success, although those are part of it. It's about strengthening your mindset, building emotional resilience, and becoming the person you were meant to be. Toxic people lose their grip on you when you invest in yourself, because your sense of self-worth no longer depends on their approval or validation. Start by setting clear goals for your life, goals that excite you and align with your values. Maybe it's advancing in your career, building a healthier lifestyle, or learning a new skill. Whatever it is, pour your energy into it. Every time you take a step towards your dreams, you reinforce the truth that your life belongs to you, not to anyone else. Toxic people often try to sabotage your growth. They might belittle your ambitions, mock your efforts, or remind you of your past mistakes. That's because your progress threatens their control over you. But remember this, their negativity is not a reflection of your potential. It's a reflection of their own limitations. Let their words roll off you like water on a raincoat. One of the best ways to focus on your growth is to surround yourself with positive, supportive people who believe in you. Find mentors, coaches, friends, or even online communities that inspire and uplift you. These are the people who will remind you of your strengths, celebrate your wins, and help you navigate your challenges. Self-care is also a vital part of growth. Toxic people drain your energy, so make sure you're refueling your mind and spirit. Practice mindfulness, journal your thoughts, or spend time in nature. Take care of your physical health, because a healthy body supports a strong mind. Remember, growth doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey of small steps, each one building on the last. And perhaps most importantly, practice self-compassion. Growth is messy. You'll make mistakes, face setbacks, and doubt yourself along the way. But every stumble is an opportunity to learn, to adjust, and to keep moving forward. Toxic people want you to believe that you're not capable of change, that you'll always be stuck. Prove them wrong by showing up for yourself every single day. When you focus on your own growth, you break free from the chains of toxicity. You rise above the noise and you build a life that's so full of purpose and joy that their negativity can't touch you. So, invest in yourself. Choose your dreams over their drama, because at the end of the day, the best revenge against toxic people is to thrive. May 5. Practice forgiveness and let go. The fifth way to deal with toxic people, and perhaps the most transformative, is to practice forgiveness and let go. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. People think it means excusing the other person's behavior or allowing them back into your life. But that's not what forgiveness is about. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself from the emotional prison that toxic people build around you. It's about releasing the resentment and pain so you can move forward with peace and clarity. Toxic people can leave deep scars. They can make you question your worth, rob you of your joy, and fill your mind with anger and bitterness. Holding on to that anger might feel justified at first. After all, you were wronged. But the truth is, carrying that bitterness only hurts you. It keeps you tied to their negativity and prevents you from fully stepping into the person you're meant to be. Forgiveness doesn't mean you condone what they did. It doesn't mean you have to reconcile or let them back into your life. It simply means you choose to release the hold their actions have on your heart. You're saying, I refuse to let your toxicity poison my spirit any longer. I choose freedom. One way to start this process is by acknowledging the hurt they caused you. Be honest about how their behavior made you feel, whether it was betrayal, rejection, or constant criticism. Write it down in a journal if that helps. Then, remind yourself that their actions are a reflection of their own struggles, not a measure of your worth. By separating their behavior from your identity, you take back your power. Forgiveness is a process, not a one-time decision. Some days, you might feel free. Other days, the anger might resurface. That's okay. Healing is not linear. When those feelings arise, practice self-compassion. Remind yourself that you are human and it's normal to feel hurt. But also remind yourself that you are strong enough to let it go. Letting go doesn't just mean releasing them emotionally. It also means releasing any expectations you had for them. Maybe you hoped they would change or apologize or finally recognize your worth. Let go of those expectations too. Waiting for them to validate your pain keeps you stuck. Choose to validate yourself instead. When you let go, you create space for new possibilities in your life. You open the door to healthier relationships, deeper peace, and a stronger sense of self. You no longer let their negativity define your story. Instead, you become the author of your own narrative, a narrative filled with growth, resilience, and light. Remember, forgiveness is not a gift you give to the toxic person, it's a gift you give to yourself. It's the key that unlocks the door to your freedom. So, choose to let go. Choose peace over pain. Choose growth over grudges. Because you deserve a life that's too beautiful to be overshadowed by someone else's darkness. As we've explored these 5 powerful ways to deal with toxic people, setting boundaries, refusing to engage, limiting exposure, focusing on your growth, and practicing forgiveness, you're now equipped with tools to reclaim your power and peace of mind. But remember, these are not just abstract concepts. They are daily practices, choices you make every time you encounter negativity. Toxic people thrive on the energy you give them. They want to draw you into their chaos, to make you feel small, and to rob you of your joy. But you have the power to refuse. You have the power to say no more. You have the power to create a life where your energy is protected, your goals are pursued, and your peace is prioritized. Setting boundaries might feel uncomfortable at first. You might worry about offending others or being seen as selfish. But healthy boundaries are an act of self-respect. They show the world and yourself that your mental health and your dreams matter. They remind you that you are not here to be a doormat for someone else's pain. Refusing to engage doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise. Every time you refuse to get pulled into their drama, you choose peace over chaos. Every time you limit your exposure to their negativity, you make space for positivity and growth. Remember, you're not obligated to participate in someone else's toxic cycle. You can step back, you can walk away, you can choose yourself. Focusing on your growth is the most powerful act of defiance against toxicity. It's declaring, I refuse to stay stuck in your darkness. I'm building my own light. Every time you invest in your dreams, every time you surround yourself with people who uplift you, every time you take care of your body and mind, you weaken the grip that toxic people have over you. And finally, forgiveness is your ultimate act of freedom. It's not about them, it's about you. It's about choosing peace over resentment. It's about letting go of the pain that holds you back. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past. It empowers you to build a future that isn't defined by it. Remember this, toxic people don't get to decide who you become. Their words, their actions, and their negativity are not the blueprint for your life. You get to choose. You get to decide who you are, what you stand for, and where you're headed. So as you walk away from this video, I want you to stand tall. I want you to hold your head high. I want you to know that you are stronger than their words, bigger than their drama, and more powerful than their attempts to bring you down. You are a warrior of your own light. Don't let toxic people dim your shine. Don't let their darkness overshadow your dreams. Choose to rise. Choose to grow. Choose to be the hero of your own story. Because in the end, the best way to deal with toxic people is to build a life so full of purpose and joy that their negativity simply can't survive in your light. So go out there and build that life. You've got this.